Hello, welcome to today's lecture. People from around the world, they visit the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History to see the Star-Spangled Banner. And since we're just coming off of Memorial Day, I thought this lecture would be very interesting. I want to thank everybody for joining me. I'm Lady TrenettWilson, your lecturer and social historian. And today I want to pay homage to a woman who is so hidden in history. I was shocked when I found out about who she was in her role in history. And she did it only as a little girl. So, welcome everyone. Hello, Roilers. You all, I want to thank you for all of the cash apps. I want to thank you for the super chats. I really am grateful that you are enjoying our channel. Again, we are here just to elevate our understanding and our history and understanding where we stand as far as the royal, black, and the elite. So, the official flag of the United States is the Star Spangled Banner. And most people think Betsy Ross is the one who sold it. Now, she sold a version of it, the first one. But the second one that stands today as our national flag actually came with the help of a young girl. And she was only 13 years old. She was rented out as an indentured servant. And in her renting out, landed in destiny. On today's lecture, we're going to discuss a young lady named Grace Wisher. Grace is a girl who is lost in our American history. And again, I'm honored to bring her conversation to this discourse about our American flag. Now, the original American flag was sewn, or at least designed by, there's questions about that, by Betsy Ross. Her flag design had the stars in a circle, which signified the 13 colonies. But by the time the War of 1812 came along, when Britain was attacking America, they needed a new flag because America had grown, there were more colonies. And the government was in search of a new flag designed to encompass all of these colonies. And they went to the woman who sold the flags of the day. And her name was Mary Young Pinkersgill. Now, Miss Pinkersgill had inherited this business from, she had learned how to sew from her mother, and then her husband had a military supply company, and they also supplied and sewed flags. And when he passed away, she continued the business on. So this is what she did. So when the government approached her about sewing the flag to signify, us, we as America had won, they offered her $405. And this was in 1812. So she got her daughter and her two nieces to help her sew this very large flag. But there was one person, according to the Maryland Street Archives, that was also in her home. And we know this based upon contract that was available there at that time. There was a little girl, a young lady, who was 13, and she was an indentured servant, and she was living in Mary's home. She was a black girl, and her name was Grace Wisher. Now, she was freeborn, and she was leased to Mary, who was supposed to teach Grace housework and plain sewing skills. Now, this arrangement was common during that time. In fact, by the 1820s, Baltimore had approximately 10,000 free black people there. And they not only lived in the shipyards and the dock area and where our warehouses were, but they also lived in small, narrow houses. And they had, the streets were called like Happy Alley, Dutch Alley, and Apple Alley. If anyone is from Baltimore listening, have you ever heard of any of these alleys? So this is most likely where her mother lived. She and her mother lived. Her mother's name was Jenny. So Jenny apprenticed her daughter out, and this again was common practice for poor people, and that could have been black or white. And for women, a lot of times they were single mothers. For black women, anyway, their husbands were often in slavery. We're talking the 1800s now, 1820s, 1816, 1810. So it was during a time when slavery was still happening, and they also couldn't find jobs. So even if they had went off to war, they didn't have a skill that they could translate into work when they came back to the country. So this is what they were facing. So this is why people would in essence, rent their children out. And for Mary's mom, for Grace's mom, I'm more than sure that it was probably a weight lifted. For one, she got a little bit of money, and then number two, she didn't have to take care of her daughter from on a day-to-day basis. Now, according to a book written by Sally Johnson and Pat Pilling, Jenny, her mom, received $20 at the beginning of the contract, and then she would receive another $12 at the end of the contract. So she started apprenticing in 1810, and she had to serve 6 years. Yes, you heard me. $32 for 6 years of this little girl's life. So, you know, that translates into thousands today, but still, that is a long time. Now, she did learn a skill. Oddly enough, after she assists with sewing the flag, we don't hear anything else about her. Now, she had been there for 2, maybe 3 years before they commissioned them to sew the flag. And I mentioned that Maryland was a free state, but it wasn't. I want to correct myself. It wasn't a free state, but free people could live there. And so she lived in the house with Mary for 6 years as she was this indentured servant. And what she would have done on a daily basis would be things like food preparation, laundry, and cleaning the home. And Mary had a daughter, so who was about her same age, who helped her sew on the flag as well. And so I know that my royalists would love to hear this story about a young woman who helped contribute to such an iconic, uh, you know, symbol for America. You drive down anybody's street during 4th of July and flags are flying everywhere during Veterans Day, during Memorial Day. But what you do not hear is about this young black woman who had her hands, who was actually stitched into the very fabric of our country. It brings me honor to introduce you to her. I hope that you enjoyed today's lecture, and I wanted to share my sources with you. I read an article for the Ohio State University. Let me tell you, this woman is so unknown that I couldn't even find a picture of her. So there's no pictures. And so I created some pictures for you all to kind of get a vision of maybe what she looked like. So no pictures of her, her mother, or anybody. They had a picture of Mary though. Okay, I'm sorry. And of Betsy Ross, but we won't start there. So we didn't have any pictures. And then there was no Wikipedia. So I had to dig deep to find anything out about her. And even with that, after she left Mary's service, there's no record of her. So, the Ohio State University, I also read an article with the National Park Service. And then I also read an article called Grace Wisher, the Black Girl Who Helped Stitch the Star Spangled Banner. So I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. As always, my lectures are for entertainment and educational purposes only, and the Fair Act use is in effect. Now, if you want to learn more, of course, click. I always leave you a video, of course, to see. And not only that, I just want to say again, thank you to everybody who have contributed. Don't forget to run out and get our Royal Black and Elite book. I've left a link down below so that you can have all these great people in your Black History Library. The volume 2 is going to be coming out. This one is going out of print. So it'll be only available for about another month. So be sure to go out and get the Royal Black and Elite volume 1. So I thank you for your support, and I'll see you on another great episode of Royal Black and Elite.